Right. Not much progress. Ugh, I know. I'm working on it. Getting closer. Got some stuff from Rhodes Race Cars. Got the axle alignment tool. Big solid machine ground shaft. The center pucks. And the outer. It's two-sided. So you could do the large bearing and the small bearing. And then we also got the anti-roll bar kit. Some assembly required, but we can handle that. Has a super thick wall chromoly tube. We have the ICT axle tool. We allow center line for pinion. We could string line it. Tells you where to cut the axles if you have cut to fit, or you can measure from there to get your axle lengths once we put the axle together. Now I'm going to redesign these lower mounts. It was my mess up. Kind of my mess up. I was kind of thinking the old school 4-link, where the brackets, where the rod ends are ahead of the axle center line. But I should actually have these holes right below the axle center line. They should be moved back quite a bit. So that's the plan, is I want to remake these brackets. I want to move these holes equal in the center line of the axle. It was starting to bug me. I thought, oh man, do I have it right? And no, I don't think I do. So I was thinking about the old school 4-link equal length bar, where you had the holes ahead of the axle center line on top and bottom. This one, the holes are going to be on the center line at the top. And at the bottom, if I use these brackets, there'll be a smaller circle in the travel than the top. The top will have a bigger arc. And that'll actually, I think, lead to binding. To axle binding on its travel path. I did a little cardboard mock-up where I made a little cardboard axle and arms. And I swept them. I put a little pencil and I swept it on a piece of paper. Then I moved my pivot point forward on the bottom link bars, and it made a tighter circle. And one thing I wound up having is my suspension travel would limit itself. It would bind. I wouldn't have the same travel as if I had my center point, my pivot point at the axle center line. So regardless of how much effort was put into making those brackets, if they don't work, they don't work. And I was thinking about that, and if I had the holes on the top mount the same distance forward as the holes on the bottom mount, then it'd be okay. But the Fox body, that upper link is so freaking short, you got no room. So I don't want to move that pivot point forward at all. So I made a geometry mistake on my design. That's okay though. You live and learn. I might be able to recycle these brackets. I might be able to use them for the top. Maybe, maybe not. So anyway. Anyway. We now have an axle alignment jig. I will, I'll just mount her up and kind of show you. It's a 5-foot bar. The axle tubes I had to cut down 2 inches off one side, 1 inch off the other side. So the bar was long enough. The axle tubes are extra long. You cut the length to fit your car. So anyway, hold on. See right there, this puck is turned around. That's for the small bearing. This end here is for the big bearing. Focus. This end here is for the small bearing. This end here is for the big bearing. So you flip it around if you're doing a small bearing axle. And then these center ones, I need a center section. They mount up to the center section. Now the bar is just long enough because the axle is too wide, obviously. That'll get cut down. Yeah, but we're getting somewhere. We have an actual proper real alignment tool. I need a center section before I can actually align it. I'll put the tubes on. I want to redesign these hangers. I just am. That's the way it's going to be. We have the anti-roll bar kit. I don't think I'll hang the bar off the axle. I think I'll hang it off the body. Let's go over to the car. Oh, I started cleaning up a little bit. Started welding that plate in. Ran out argon. I was out of argon for a while. Haven't got any yet. Kind of have to now. Oh, I should show you guys something. Take that off of there. Hold on. Oh yeah, garage is a mess. Here's where this rips my lip off. Okay, let's roll the car over. Roll the car over. We have a color change going on. Slowly but surely, she's going gray. Yeah, messy garage. We're still working on it. Yeah, I had some issues with the paint, but we won't talk about that. I kind of wanted to do something, so I just kept going, kept working, eh? Here's our, yep, trim clad. For real, not even joking. So we started cleaning up this side. I don't think I'm putting the sail panels back on. They are really, really, really heavy. Way heavier than I thought they were going to be. I'm putting the factory glass back in the back. It's still a street car, but I don't see putting on excessive weight. I might tube the back of the car. I still might tube the front of the car. I'm throwing ideas around like crazy. I just know I need to keep moving forward. Keep working on her. Focus. I know we need to keep moving forward, keep working on her. That's what the paint has reacted a little bit there. Don't really care. No, I'm not doing body work. I want to paint right over the dents and dings. Sending it. Got the front suspension back out of it. So that's where we're at now. Now the anti-roll bar. The big parp. I got one that's too long, obviously, to custom cut it wherever we need to mount it. Wherever we need to mount this guy. She's obviously too long, we'll have to cut her down. But we're going to have to find out where it lives. Got to finish up that panel there. We're going to cut that panel out there. Put the Merillats in. And then I got to put a cross member in for the coilovers. Put in the anti-roll bar. And then I'm going to do the cage before I cut the back of the car out. I was thinking about this. Because once I start, I can't leave it hanging off the rotisserie when I start cutting out all this whole structure. Because that guy's got to come out. These cross members, they got to come out. All this junk here has to come out. We need room for tires. We're going to over tub it. We're going to cut her down. I'm not going to cut the back of the frame out because it's going to be in line with the control arm anyway. So it's really no point, because if the tire is going to hit here, the tire is going to hit the lower bar. But we'll cut out all the space. We'll cut out all the stuff. This is really super heavy crap. and we'll tub it inwards. I'll make the tub deeper. We're gonna run the we're gonna run the 1510s. We're gonna run the 1510s, and it's actually pretty even with the fender, the quarter panel. I don't know if you can see that or not. But once this is all cut out, these are 1510s, 4.5-inch back spacing. There's also 5.5, 6, and a 7-inch back spacing, I believe. So if I set this up for a 275, 60, 15 drag radial, all I have to do to run a 315 or a big ass slick, I could, like a 12 wide or something like that. I could actually just get an offset rim, and all the space will be cut out, and there'll be a tub in there. Junk. We still have the RX-7. The deal kind of sort of half fell through and half didn't, and it just became a schmoz. But anyway, so we still got the car, but we're unloading the car, getting rid of it. It's gone. Find a new buyer, or maybe trade it for some stuff. And then, yeah, everything is good. The motorcycle, the bike, the bobber. I'm going to put the single carb on it. I started working on the intake. Hold on. Get out of there. You're stuck in the things. So I started building a little intake manifold dealio. And so I can do this one-handed. Kind of like that. You get the idea. Say. Oh, get off there. The old timers are saying, you can't turn the carburetor upside down. They don't run right afterwards. I don't know if you guys heard that or not from back in the day, the old guys. But anyway, so I just took some aluminum, did some fancy scribing and some bending. Once this is cleaned up and TIG welded all into place, should be fine. It's a hand-filed kind of hack job. Once she's TIG welded in, that'll be the base of her intake to do the single carb conversion. So I've been messing with the 4 carbs on the bike. I just think they're done. I think they're just too old. Leaking, vacuum leak somewhere. They're warped maybe. Maybe some passages are still plugged up that I didn't clean out good enough. It has a dead spot from about 2,500 RPM to about 4,000. And that's pretty much the entire range you need. It's flat. It won't accelerate. It won't do nothing. It lies on its face. So everybody's telling me in the Goldwing world, these Volkswagen carburetors from the old Bugs. No name, but it looks pretty good. Came with a bag of stuff. It wasn't that expensive. Doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'll buy a more expensive one. But it seems to have all the stuff. So that's where we're going to go with the bike. The bike is not dead. I have a headlight for it. It's actually sitting downstairs on the shelf. We will put that on. Yeah, just slap the curb. Slap the hood. Trunk opens. So we'll put that carburetor on. We'll run a single carb on that fella. After we dig it out of its resting home, out of its resting spot. Oop, get rid of that stuff. Yeah, that's actually where she wound up. That's where she wound up. No real change.